What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about why Marci has a 43% win rate pretty much across all MMR brackets. And this hero has kind of fallen from grace, and it was always kind of a specialty hero as a lot of people did not know how to use this hero when it came out. I was definitely one of those players, as I didn't discover this hero until a few months ago, and I just didn't feel the need to play this hero as my hero pool was pretty big already, and I didn't want to challenge myself with a hero such as Marci because when it comes to vector targeting, I've never been the best player when it comes to that. It takes me a long time to learn heroes that have vector target abilities. Like Void Spirit took me a long time to learn, and I just didn't really feel like Marci was a very fun hero until I ended up playing her. Now I put her under my hero pool in the mid lane. I feel like this hero definitely can do a lot of work with the right lineup. I feel like it works best with heroes like Lion, Shadow Shaman, Tusk, Ogre, these stunners that like to roam around the map and do work. Pudge as well is pretty good. I definitely feel like Marci definitely needs a buff though, as she's pretty weak right now, and her Aghanim Scepter was nerfed, which was a big part of her toolkit and why she was really strong. I feel like it kind of nerfed her into the ground and why her win rate has plummeted so much, because her strength and agility gain was decreased. Her Scepter Silence went from 1.5 seconds to 1 second, and then the cooldown reduction on the ultimate went from 20 seconds, which was really crucial, to 10 seconds, which it makes the Aghanim Scepter not as good as it was before. And it's an item that Marci definitely has to rush, especially from the mid lane, as carry Marci tends to build Battle Fury, can build a Maelstrom as well, can build a Midas, these types of items to make her farm faster, because Marci can't really farm quickly. She can't clear through creep waves as easily. It makes this hero very difficult, as if you don't win your lane, you're definitely out on an island, and it makes it very hard for you to come back into the game unless you have like Magnus and power or something like that. And you also do very well in rotations, but you're heavily dependent on your ultimate, which is an insane cooldown at level 1, which means you're going to be inactive out of the map for a pretty long time if you can't really burst them without your ultimate, which ends up happening more often than not, as this hero doesn't really do a heck of a lot without the ultimate. So you definitely need to play with a pretty aggressive lineup for you to be able to get your team to rotate with you. That way you can keep the pressure while your ultimate is on cooldown. It's very important, as if you're playing with a very passive lineup with supports such as Oracle, Warlock, and these heroes that just like to stay back, heal the team, and not really be aggressive and make moves around the map, it'll make it very difficult for the Marci to make enough space for its carry to get farmed, as you're going to be pretty much reliant on your ultimate to be able to get solo pickoffs on enemy carries or mid laners. And it doesn't have a really good time in the mid lane for most matchups unless you get some rotations, as this hero doesn't really offer a lot of kill threat in the laning phase, but it definitely can happen against certain matchups. I feel like it does pretty well against Ember, as Ember before level 6 doesn't really do a whole lot to Marci, and since she's universal, she could definitely buy a Bracer or a Wraith Band and get a lot of value from it. I tend to go bottle on this hero, as it has some mana issues depending on how active you are. If you feel like you're going to be farming more often than not, then don't get the bottle. That way you can get a faster timing. You could also get Falcon Blade. It's pretty strong on this hero. Definitely could use the mana regen, and the extra damage is also very strong. The most important thing about this hero is how quickly it can disengage from a fight as long as your teammates are nearby. That way you can get away from really bad situations and re-engage as you see fit. The lifesteal is one of the strongest aspects of this hero, other than the ultimate and dispose, which is absolutely fantastic, but the lifesteal is overall just a very good ability to have, especially for your carry. So in a team fight, they can just heal off, and everybody in an AoE will get that healing ability, which is honestly very strong. I definitely feel like if this hero gets a buff, at least on the damage aspect of the ultimate, it definitely needs to do a little bit more damage for my liking. Some players might say you're crazy, Marci is super strong still. I think if you're a Marci spammer, you can definitely get a lot of value from this hero still, and you know your matchups quite well. I definitely don't know every single matchup in the mid lane with Marci yet, as I haven't played her enough, but I definitely do realize that if you're up against a melee hero, you're gonna have a better time. But if you're up against heroes like Shadow Fiend, Viper, Sniper, pretty much these ranged annoying heroes, you're gonna get absolutely dumpstered, because even though Sniper is really squishy in the laning phase, if he shrapnels and you're caught under it and you have abilities on cooldown to get away, you're pretty much screwed. You're out on an island, and you're a pretty low armor hero. That's why you build phase boots, and to be able to close the gap. You could also buy Blink Dagger on this hero. I just feel like it's not really necessary, as you have the right ability to close the gap onto enemy targets, and with phase boots you're fast enough to do the job. You could also go Treads if you end up going the Battle Fury build. I definitely think that if you have a pretty fast-paced lineup, you can definitely still pick up the Battle Fury if you're playing with like a carry Clinks or something along the lines of that, which is not very greedy, as the new Clinks build is Solar Crest Deso. It's not very greedy, it can come online quite quickly, and you can definitely scale like a monster in the late game, as if you get an Octarine core with a Daedalus, you're gonna be doing so much freaking damage with the pulses, making Marci pretty unstoppable in the late game. But getting there is a really big problem, as like I mentioned, if you don't have a farming item on this hero, and when you're playing from the mid lane, it can be kind of grief if you get a Battle Fury, even though Battle Fury still has really good stats for the hero. It has good mana regen, it has good damage, it's not too expensive, but Maelstrom tends to be a lot better from the mid lane. You could also get a Diffusal, which is absolutely fantastic on this hero. I just feel like rushing Aghanim Scepter is honestly the best bet, as any cooldown reduction on your ultimate is pretty good. And once you get those silences, it can be really crucial to lock down targets that are really hard to find, like Puck or Ember after level 6. Pretty much any of the spirits, any of these heroes that are really hard for you to stick onto and be able to catch them without building an Orchid, then I still think that Aghanim Scepter does the job quite well. Definitely let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about Marci, and if she deserves a buff or not. I definitely think she does. She is not in a really good spot in the meta. She is sub 45% win rate, which is absolutely abysmal for any hero in the game. And even support Marci hasn't been played that much, as she just doesn't provide enough on the support line. Even though she can be quite aggressive and played kind of like a Tusk where you can roam around, but it costs her so much mana to be able to rotate around the map. You're going to constantly have to spam clarities and be able to get some really good rotations to get enough value out of this hero from the support line. It's definitely a good setup, as you can run this hero and pair it with like an axe, as you can get a nice axe call for free pretty much when you dispose them, and you throw them exactly where the axe can reach before his blink dagger. It can also be very, very strong, and if you play with the right vision, you can definitely catch enemies off guard and obliterate them with your ultimate. But definitely play it with aggressive supports. Don't play it with a passive lineup. Don't play it in a greedy lineup either, as this hero still needs a bit of farm, and if your rotations aren't going according to plan, it's going to be a very big problem for you once your ultimate is on cooldown. You're not going to be able to get the kills as easy unless you have aggressive supports that do quite a bit of damage. You definitely need that for this hero to be popping off completely. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. A like would be much appreciated. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.